Salutations, listeners.
Si valis valeo.
Nanu Nanu.
Valem Regulus. Thank you for tuning in. This is Three Men and a Basement, and we are the Ultra Crepidarians. My name is Colin McLeod.
Mark Alpier.
Action Jackson.
In this podcast, we review movies, and we deliver to you, the listener, an average schmuck's opinion about hidden gems in the wide world of cinema. We try and target movies that are not total blockbuster smashes. They are busting no blocks.
Nope.
We also look for ones that are not super duper obscure. You would not have to go on safari out in the Serengeti.
Yeah.
And, hunt these movies down.
You wouldn't have to dig them up, somewhere in Giza.
Yeah.
It does not require a desert adventure, if you will.
It would also not necessitate procuring a one-man army.
No.
What about a water adventure?
Well,
Remains to be seen.
That's too wet.
Yeah.
Wetness is the essence of moisture.
And moisture is the essence of beauty.
Yes, that's what I heard.
That's what I hear. Yeah. Our Zoolander fans out there are going to appreciate that. So, we like to watch these movies and then deliver to you just an average schmuck. Not a high-class schmuck,
No.
not a low-class schmuck. Just your everyday, run-of-the-mill schmuck.
Yeah.
That Joe's opinion about whether or not you need to track it down and see it. If you're new here, kind of the way this works is we're going to bang out, not each other.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. About 15 or 20 minutes of specs and initial reactions. Spoiler-free. No spoilers.
Not a one.
So help me if there was... We used to be 4 Men in a Basement. And then fucking Ricky...
Killed him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ricky
He
Bobby.
spoiled something.
Yep.
Before we went blah, blah, blah. And,
We had to spoil him.
Yeah, he's dead.
Jackson ate him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still in the corner. Jackson dropped some Ricky Deuce in the corner. And,
Sticky Ricky.
Sticky Ricky Deuce.
I remember that night.
Yeah.
You should have cleaned that up. That was like years ago, and it's. I mean, luckily it's kind of mummified
It's
now.
got a heartbeat now.
It's horrible.
It's coming back.
That always comes back.
Then we move into spoiler territory, and we spoil the shit out of this movie, tell you everything you need to know about it, and then we rate it, and then we give you a scene score, and then we fuck off out of your life.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty accurate.
Yep. That's about how it goes.
Especially the fucking off part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this, the 59th
Woo!
episode of the podcast.
Wow, we are approaching retirement.
I know, right, dude? I already applied for the podcast's AARP card.
Well, we got 6 more episodes until it's over.
That's pretty much.
Is
Yeah.
that what the P stands for
That's it.
in
Yeah.
AARP?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
American Association of Retired Podcasters.
Yep.
Did you not know that?
You
It's
know
a very
what?
exclusive organization.
Apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently.
Would you think everybody gets an AARP card?
I just thought it was a bunch of silver tops, But no.
Nope. There's some gold tops there?
Platinum Tops.
Platinum tops.
Platinum tops.
I met a
Is
few
that a band name?
I met a few platinum tops in my day.
No, it's band name adjacent.
In this, the 59th episode, what did we watch?
Cousin Bette. Or Betty, if you mispronounce it.
Yeah.
Which I did.
It's a story about Bette Midler, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yes.
It's a biopic on Bette Midler.
Right in the middle.
Cherries on this one.
Big cherry over here.
Medium to humongous cherry over here.
Yeah.
Enormous to absolutely colossal cherry over
Like
here.
James and the Giant Cherry.
James and the Giant Cherry.
That sounds like a movie that maybe you would find in the back room of the Blockbuster.
Yes.
This is a triple cherry.
Yeah.
We should be winning money from a casino right now.
These are rare.
These are rare.
Fruit basket.
I bought this movie, and I knew something about it when I purchased it, but it was one of the purchases I kind of got a deal on. It was just in the mix.
Not quite a Walmart bargain bin, but...
Right, but it was like,
Target bin.
Yeah.
buy whatever, get whatever free, and I'm like looking through the options, and I saw this. I remember nothing about the purchase, but I can tell you, having watched it, whatever I knew about it at the time, I know exactly why I bought it.
Yeah.
After having seen it.
Yeah, because I didn't know who was in this movie, and I didn't even know what it was about.
Fair.
But I had previously purchased it, so at some point I at least knew who was in it and sort of a general vibe of what it was about, and probably had a peek at the IMDb score at the time. Mm-hmm. And the second it started, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's why I fucking bought it." So yeah, this is full on fucking de novo for everybody. Okay, Cousin Bette is a 1998 film, rated R. Thoughts?
Yes.
Yes. Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yes.
Dude.
Well, what, I mean,
What even really is an R?
I didn't see a penis, okay? Oh, actually, no, we did.
Well, I said I'm
Yes.
sorry about that.
Well, that was extra.
Yeah, that was you gotta pay extra.
That was a bonus.
That was the Avengers after credits. Colin's penis scene.
They do call it a stinger.
Well,
That's a movie and a penis joke. All wrapped up into one.
Yeah. Because it pops off when you get stung by it. That's how you die.
Is that a triple entendre?
Yeah. Fucking quadruple. We'll throw a few more entendres on there.
I don't like it.
At what point does it become an orgy entendre?
Ooh.
I'm starting to feel dirty, guys.
Right.
I'm also starting to feel like Orgy Entendre is definitely a band name.
Well, we'll flirt with it.
Orgy Entendre. How do you spell entendre?
You're asking the wrong person.
Entendre.
Yeah, that's allegedly.
It's French.
That's what you say.
Entendre.
Speaking of French,
Yes.
this movie takes place in France. But before we get to that, an hour and 48 minutes. Thoughts?
Honestly,
Yeah. I was good with it.
Yeah, I agree.
it felt like a 2-hour movie, but I wasn't mad that it felt like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So this is not spoilery, but it does sort of like hint at this. Would it make any sense if I said the first half of this movie felt longer than the second half?
Absolutely.
I completely agree. I actually have that as one of my liner notes, that like it starts off a bit slow, and had I known that it was an hour 48 when we started watching it, I would have been like, oh boy, this is going to be not a slog, but like this is going along at a clip that I'm not super comfortable with.
Yeah, and if it stayed at that pace, it would have felt long.
Yeah, and then it fucking picks up, and like you kind of get why it dragged a little bit in the beginning, and it, retrospectively, you don't want it to speed up in the beginning,
Right.
Well, I feel like it took a minute for the plot to like,
congeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At first, we'll go into all that.
What Genrys we got?
All right, we got some good ones. that I think that you guys are going to really like.
Yeah.
Let me start us off. We got a dark comedy.
Absolutely. 100%.
I'm going to...
Totally agree with that.
I hate both of y'all.
I actually do kind of agree with that.
Okay. I would agree. Again, I have lived and I have died on this hill.
Yep.
I would agree it is a dark comedy. I do not agree that dark comedy is a genre unto itself. It is a subgenre of comedy. IMDb's AI fucking descriptions can go kick rocks.
It is a comedy that is dark.
That's
correct.
That's a lot of candlelight. What about period drama? It's more like a menstrual...
I was gonna say it's only dramatic once, like every 28 days.
Right. Period drama. Okay, I get it. I get why they're saying that.
Still bullshit.
Satire.
Yes. Satire? No.
No. I don't know. No? What is it satirizing? Like, maybe in some ways satirizing period pieces in, like, French Revolution era that are...
like flowery and
overly dramatic, right? Like, I feel like it is sort of taking a pot shot at maybe, like, some Jane Austen shit, which I know is, like, it is a little bit more, like, Victorian.
It's got that vibe.
Yeah, like fucking the aristocracy, the bourgeoisie, like it has definitely got that in its sights.
It sounds like we could just cut all that noise and just call this a comedy, a drama, and a romance.
Correct. Yeah. I would say yes on all those.
That's it.
It's a dramatic, romantic comedy.
Yeah. And I mean, Bette, by herself, she's like a one-man army.
Yeah.
Like, so definitely one-man army.
Actually, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no cap.
Yeah, no. No what?
No cap.
No. This is one of those fucking things that you youths do. Bet. Bet. I do know that. Yeet.
Hit him with that skibbity toilet roll.
Oh, damn it. I was just about to say skibbity. Yeah.
All I know is that your banter was lit, fam.
Yeah. It was on fleek.
Ooh.
I think we're slowly progressing backwards.
Listen, it's the last relevant thing I remember.
It's so fetch. There we go. Taking us back. Do you want me to find that guy?
Yeah, if you could.
Wait, which guy?
I can find that guy. Read.
Oh, read description?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I could read the description.
Yeah.
But I won't.
No, you can't.
You gotta have Reed.
Reed's gotta do it.
Yeah.
Simon. When her sister dies in 1846, Bette moves from the chateau to Paris to work as a theater seamstress. She helps a handsome, starving artist when her niece lures him away from her. What do you think?
Ooh, devious. What I love about this is, like, this takes place in France and revolves around aristocracy. And meanwhile, in the U.S., it was cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Well, Cowboys and Aliens.
Right. Yes. Daniel Craig. Harrison Ford.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've tried to watch that movie many times.
I've seen it twice.
It's so good.
I keep falling asleep.
I've seen it
How
twice.
dare you?
I'm sorry.
It's an American classic.
Yeah, it's Aliens.
It's on par with The Godfather.
Well,
I feel like you could get shot for saying something that inflammatory.
I might cut that out because I don't want to be on record as saying that. Because there are dangerous people who have opinions that are not that. Meanwhile,
Back to the laboratory.
Let's just not talk about how Cowboys and Aliens is definitely better than Citizen Kane.
you guys, how's this compared to like a 10 Commandments?
For those of you listening at home, Mark and Jackson are signing to me that they agree with me. And if they deny it verbally, it is definitely just them trying to protect themselves. But if you take a pot shot at me, I just want you to know, we're all in agreement here.
Look, I'm pretty sure that anyone that comes after me for not liking The Godfather will have to get through the line of people who have a fucking stick in their ass about Stardust. So I'm not worried.
The greatest movie of all time. Yes,
The GOAT.
That movie.
I'm not worried about making more enemies because I already got them. Get in line.
Yeah, I do feel like he has this sort of ironic protection from Grisey Lafferty.
Right.
I feel like she would kill anybody who could potentially kill Mark.
Because it's her job.
It's her. He is her kill to have.
Excuse me.
Look, everybody's got a neurotic obsession. I get it. Mine happens to be shitting on Stardust.
I think we've all agreed that Mark is a bad man.
Yeah.
And Grisey Lafferty needs to pull the finger out.
In the words of Matt Berry.
Get him.
Apologies, my good bitch, but what seems to be the fuck?
I would love to be able to say that to someone in earnest.
Honestly.
I'm too much of a coward.
Yes.
Okay.
Speaking of cowards, let's speak about the French.
I mean, Mark lost us the French 3 episodes ago,
Yeah,
so it actually doesn't matter. All right, speaking of the French, who's in this movie?
Well, we've got Jessica Lange playing Bette. Jessica Lange is an absolute snack, and if you don't know who she is, shame on you.
I know her best, and this is probably blasphemy, but I know her best from American Horror Story.
A lot of people do. Yeah. That is probably one of her most prominent recent modern roles.
Bro, Tootsie?
I mean, Young Frankenstein?
It was Julie in Tootsie.
Yeah. She was in King Kong in 1976.
Oh, Christ.
Jessica Lange, kind of all over Hollywood. And if you don't know her, you should become familiar because she is a national treasure.
Little intimidating when you put your mind to it. Yeah. We also have Elizabeth Shue.
She's mad.
Shazmat.
We've done an Elizabeth Shue film on this podcast.
Yes,
before.
we have.
Yeah.
Enemy at the Gates, right?
Right. Or was it Desert Saints?
It was definitely Desert Saints. No, we did Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh,
fucking Elizabeth Shue.
Yes.
Being
as a 21-year-old.
I think in the movie she was 17.
Yeah, she was definitely not 17.
Probably 29 in real life when that came out. Dude, Elizabeth Shue is the best. She was also Marty McFly's girlfriend in the second Back to the Future film.
Yeah.
Dude, Elizabeth Shue, the fucking best.
Yes.
Just the best.
What about a husk? Like a Bob? A Bob Hoskins.
He's just a husk of a man.
Rest in peace.
Of a man.
What a husky fella.
Dude, Bob Hoskins, also in one of our movies that I jested about a moment ago, Enemy at the Gates.
Yeah.
He played Khrushchev in Enemy at the Gates.
Yeah.
But probably better known for what is probably the second best movie of all time next to Cowboys and Aliens, Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. He played Mario.
Yes.
It's me.
As opposed to Luigi Mario.
He was also Eddie from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, God, he was so good in that.
He was Shmee in Hook.
Hook is...
Shmee. What about Shmee?
Shmee's me.
Dude, Hook is in my top 5 that I won't define because there's probably more than 5, but it's in the top 5.
Yeah.
I hate how everybody who worked on that movie did not like that movie. Robin Williams and Steven Spielberg were very disappointed in the final product, and that movie I grew up with it and I fucking love it so much.
Treasure.
I love that Glenn Close was in that movie, and she got that part because she was friends with Spielberg, and he was like, hey, you want to be in the movie? And she was like, sure.
Yeah,
and so he just made her a pirate that goes into the boo box,
also,
and then you never see her again.
She also traumatized me because I was so fucking deathly afraid of the boo box.
Right?
As a child, it was the most horrific thing I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I have fucking mental scars. Dude, the fucking 80s and 90s were the Wild West of
you could get away with anything.
Content. Like, I just look back at the shit that we watched, I'm like, wow, this is kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
They just, like, locked somebody in a box and put fucking scorpions in there with them.
Hook came out 2 weeks before I was born.
Whoa. That's interesting.
I don't think it's a coincidence.
Jackson, are you Glenn Close?
It's possible. It's never been proven.
Yeah. We're getting Glenn close to the bottom of this mystery.
I see what you did there.
We have to mention another name, Hugh Laurie.
Yes. Oh my God, Dr. House.
Fuck, he's so good.
Somebody. Any other? I mean, there's a lot of other names.
So there is one other that we need to bring up because we also did something else with her recently. Geraldine Chaplin's in this fucking movie. Like, we had this whole conversation in Chaplin about how, oh yeah, it's his daughter, and we didn't realize that she was an actress. And
here we do two movies.
Here she is.
Wait, whose daughter?
Orson Welles.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was leaning.
Quite.
That's where I was leaning.
Yes.
You know?
Quite.
Indubitably.
I say Phineas.
Who the fuck is Phineas?
He's the guy I say things to.
With your jowls.
That one really got Jackson.
I would wear it on a t-shirt.
T-shirt. Who the fuck is Phineas?
He's the guy I say things to.
The guy I say things to.
With a fucking monocle. Oh, Lord.
Okay, so I think that's it. I think that does it for Cast. Would you recommend this movie?
100%.
Yes, but with the caveat that I would tell the person I'm recommending it to stick the landing. If I were alone, I would have shut the movie off probably 30 minutes into it.
Okay, yeah.
But 45 minutes into it, I was hooked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a late hook. I completely agree, and I do think it does require that extra level of, like, coaching. Mm-hmm. Like, the two things I would say, it would appeal to a wide audience, like you said, if people muscle it out. But also, like, I think, you need to coach people to, like, give it a fucking chance.
Yeah.
A, and B, go in kind of blind.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. This movie is one of those films that gets enhanced by going in a little cold.
Right.
We are trying to be as withholding as possible in the pre-spoiler section, but if you're the kind of person who thinks that any kind of spoiler would ruin a movie for you, or could ruin a movie for you, I wouldn't dig deep on this one. But other than those two things, I would say a pretty well-rounded rec for me as well.
Yeah.
There are very few people I think I would say, no, don't check that out. I mean, it is an R flick. Yeah, I would say it's squarely R. There is, like, full frontal, there's drug use, there's violence.
I didn't find any of it, like, offensive, though.
It was all tasteful.
I would agree with that. Even the nudity, I felt, wasn't obscene.
Honestly, the nudity that was in this movie was tastefully done without any tact.
It was tastefully done without any tact. Now, there's a statement you don't hear every day.
Yeah. But, like,
I was completely nude, except for the clothes that I had on.
Well, it was tasteful and it was crass. Because in the time period that this movie takes place in, the nudity that was displayed was hilarious to the viewer and probably very scandalous to the people this was written about.
Within the context.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this felt like, I don't know how to, like, articulate this, but it's not comparable to, like, a rated R movie today.
No.
I think it was rated R in its ingredients, yeah. I think because of the setting and because of the dialogue, I don't think this would turn off, like, an older person who would typically stray away from an R-rated movie.
Are you calling out the older generation that definitely listens to our podcast, Mark?
Yeah, I am.
God, Mark is losing us every demographic. These are the only people that we have left.
I don't like them.
And they are only listening because somebody turned it on in their room. They don't know how to work the computer to turn it off.
I don't like them.
They'll figure it out.
They will smash with rock.
Anyone older than 42. Way too old.
Because 42 is the perfect number.
Right.
So says Douglas Adams.
Yes.
Right. That's what.
Quiet.
That's.
I say, Phineas.
We all just started clearing our throats.
Fucking got you. Okay, so rec from me, rec from Mark Jorkson.
Yeah. Big wreck. Yeah, like what Mark was saying about people that would normally be turned off by nudity or sexual content.
Get turned on because the nudity involves really attractive people.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
That's where I was going with it.
Yeah.
But, like...
Those are my thoughts.
This isn't a situation where you feel like you've been flashed, you know? Like, there are certain times where you're watching something and the nudity comes out of nowhere or is just gratuitous and it serves no purpose. In this, I feel like displaying what was displayed served a purpose, it was tasteful, and I don't think it would be deemed inappropriate by an adult audience.
Was it tasteful or tasty?
Both.
Was it a bit too cheeky, though?
I would say too cheek was the perfect amount of cheek.
Yeah, but there was but they weren't like right next to. There was like a division, like a crack.
Yeah, there was a
between
slight
kind of thing,
partition between the cheek.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you've got a little cheek here and a little cheek there.
Would you say
Little cheek
posterior
everywhere.
cleavage?
Yes. Quiet.
Yes, I say.
Phineas.
So 3 recs around. Does that mean we're ready to bwah 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 bwah? That had a very Nickelodeon vibe at the end there. I feel like Nick.
We both turned
Bwah, bwah,
around.
bwah.
It's like we both turned around to like throw a little snaz on it, and like we recognized that we were both in the room.
Yep.
Game recognized game.
Yep.
Okay, so we are in spoiler territory. Yeah, this movie's kind of fucking weird. Like,
Go ahead, say it.
I'm gonna say it. I honestly think if we went beat for beat, it would take us fucking ages.
Oh,
to
God,
get through
I
this
know.
movie. I think we really need to try to stick to broad strokes.
But I think we can breeze right through it.
So you put your hand on mine, I'll put my hand on Mark's, and Mark puts his hand on yours, and we'll just broad strokes.
Yep.
Okay. Long,
Big strokes.
big strokes.
But not in a circle.
No.
I need
It's
full
there's
arm.
only 3 of us. It's probably more of a triangle.
I need full arm movement.
Yeah.
Is what I'm
These
getting
angles add up to 180 degrees.
at. You got a step ladder too, because
I don't know. Tell me.
well, you might need it.
Well, you're a lefty, so one of us is going to be a little bit disappointed because you're working with your offhand.
I have to use my offhand?
Well, you don't, but that means that we do.
Stranger in the tub.
Dude, we're getting real flirty in this podcast.
Yeah.
By the way, for
You
those
like
of
it.
you at home, we're all naked right now.
100%.
Except for the clothes I'm wearing.
Stick around for the after party.
Right. But you
They can't see you, Mark. They can't see you.
They sense it.
They
Okay?
They
it's
really...
like a disturbance in the force.
As if millions of voices suddenly cried out, ew.
All right, so this movie starts off at a deathbed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of Geraldine Chaplin.
She is dying so good.
She was the pretty sister, apparently. Jessica Lange was the not pretty sister.
Which,
Cousin.
In what universe?
Oh, cousin.
Yeah, you might have surmised that from the title.
Cousin Bette.
I'm sorry I had to.
Look, I'm just saying words can be played with.
Yeah, it gets they sure can, Mark. You're right.
Thank you.
Words
Thank you.
can be played with.
Oh my god, I just won. So,
But here's the thing. Mark is correct in that Angeline was the sister, not the cousin.
Who's the what now?
Bette is Angeline's cousin.
wait,
Who the fuck is Angelina?
Or fucking Geraldine Chaplin.
no shit.
Yes.
You
What?
just threw me under the bus, and I just picked that
Adeline.
fucking bus up.
Adeline.
No, they're not sisters.
When
They're
her sister dies in
Oh.
1846, it's right there in the description. Cousin Bette is the cousin of the other subjects of this movie.
Who?
Feel it!
Who is she the cousin of?
Hortense.
That's what's her tits' daughter.
That's her niece.
Yeah.
So Adeline is Hortense's mother, and Bette is the
That would
aunt
make her
of
her-
Hortense.
Then why is she cousin Bette? Whose cousin is she?
Because, fucking...
I don't
yeah,
know.
answer me that, smart guy.
No, I'm winning somehow. Keep it going.
So this is the
Walk yourself there.
this is the French family dynamics, right? So you've got Hortense.
Blame
who
it on the
is-
French.
This is French math.
You know,
Yeah.
the last refuge of a coward. Blame it on the French.
Right. So you've got the Baron. You've got the Baron's dead wife. You've got the daughter and the son, and then there's the artist, and then there's Bette. And Bette is
somebody's cousin.
Wait, yeah, because then she would be Aunt.
I'm almost certain that she calls her cousin in that first scene.
But
I think she beckons her with the term cousin.
That's just because of the movie. It's because they're trying to hint the title.
She does do that, but Adeline is her sister. That's established several times.
I call my siblings
I have
cousin.
no recollection of them calling her sister, but I do remember her calling her cousin in that first scene.
Look, can we all just agree that I'm right?
Let's all agree that Mark's right.
Fair.
It feels good. It feels good. It feels a little hollow, but it feels mostly good. So, I'm going to take it.
If I didn't worry that you'd bite me, I would pat you on the head right now.
Okay, so cousin.
We've got Bette, who is somebody's cousin, perhaps. And Geraldine Chaplin is dying pretty hard.
Wow. So that took us a long time to get through
her dying.
The opening, not even scene.
Yeah. Regardless of their relationship, it is made clear that they grew up together and that the family, nuclear or extended, was country peasants and could only sort of put forward one daughter to marry off. And so they put all of their efforts into Geraldine Chaplin's character, and she was gorgeous, and she married Hugh Laurie, who made a fucking bunch of money in the Napoleonic Wars, and she had this very glitzy and glamorous life. She had 3 kids? 2 kids?
3.
Yes,
3 kids.
3 kids.
And on her deathbed, she is still, like, she's got, like, less than a day left, and she knows it, and she's, like, still chiding Bette about basically her role in the family, which was peel the vegetables and shut the fuck up.
Right.
Yeah, she mentions, like, the dirt under her fingernails and
how everybody used to call her, like, the cabbage queen or something like that. Like,
yes.
She's so fucking mean.
It's good, because when you're dying, you can just do whatever you want.
That's true. I look forward to dying for that reason.
Okay, so what's-her-face dies, Chaplin, and Hugh Laurie's character tries to, like, bring her into the family as, like, the housekeeper, sort of.
Yeah, he basically approaches her with this proposal, which she thinks is a proposal of marriage, and basically he gathers the entire family and then says, Bette has agreed to come on as the housekeeper, and she's like, fucking what now? And it's very clear that, like, she is not thought of like that by anybody in the family. Nobody sees her as equal to her sister cousin.
Right.
Yuck.
So I did some digging.
Okay.
In the novel, the source material for this movie, she is Adeline's cousin.
Okay.
In the TV show, which is not this movie, she is Adeline's sister.
Okay.
And the wires got crossed somehow from the TV show to the movie, and the IMDb summary has it wrong.
Wait, so you're saying
Adeline is the cousin of Bette.
I don't think so, though. I don't think so.
Mark's like, hang on, but that would make me incorrect.
It doesn't feel right to me.
I agree. It can't be right, because that would make Mark wrong, and we all know that Mark's not wrong.
Right. Thank you. You know, finally, some confidence. Jackson, stop looking on the internet. Okay, we already decided I'm right.
Multiple times it is listed that Adeline is Bette's sister. Multiple times it is listed that Adeline is Bette's cousin.
I only stated it one way.
So, the source material from the French writer Honoré de Balzac.
If Guar has taught me anything, it's that if you ain't Balzac, you ain't shit.
Right.
So I think we all know that.
According to the source material, Bette is the cousin of Adeline.
Which would perhaps track with the title.
Yes.
Yeah, but...
Which would also make sense when Hortense marries Steinbach and she tells him that her lover has become her cousin.
Yes.
Yes.
I still feel like I'm right.
I still feel like Mark's right.
I'm going to bring this up for a while.
according to some people, you are right.
At least to me, you know?
And it's all that matters.
People are saying it, right? It's as long as people are saying it. I heard it.
All the best people.
The best people are saying it.
The best people are saying it.
Huge people.
Huge.
Fucking yuck. That felt bad coming out of my mouth.
Wait till you behold.
Okay, so Adeline dies. Bette gets snubbed by Adeline's widower. She goes back to her apartment. She lives alone. She ends up, at one point, point, realizing that the guy upstairs, I think intentionally took apart his wood-burning stove and basically tried to, like,
kill himself.
Asphyxiate himself and die. And so she realizes it a little early, puts it back together. He's already passed out. She ends up saving his life and sort of, like, nursing him back to health. She develops this sort of obsession with him.
Nurse Ratched style of...
Yeah, real cougar energy.
Yeah, but, like, a very aggressive cougar. Like, this cougar has never seen a zoo. This cougar probably attacks people on nature trails. This cougar probably needs to be, like, tracked and killed.
And a cougar that doesn't just kill, but plays with their food. Like, I'm gonna wound you so you can't get away, but I'm not gonna kill you.
Now, don't get me wrong.
That's true love.
If I were somebody's food and being played with, Jessica Lange wouldn't be a bad option.
Honestly,
to, like,
there are worse ways to go.
Yeah, exactly.
But ultimately, he does not go that way.
Imagine if it was Kelsey Grammer.
Right? Oh, the beast.
How dare you?
666, the number of beast. So she saves his life. He becomes her slave. I jest, but only just.
He literally says...
I just jest.
He literally says that I will be your slave, because she is like, look, I have some savings. I can make you rich if you're willing to put in the work. He's like, yes, I will be your slave. And she's like, perfect. Like, in my most Mr.
Burns kind of way.
Yeah. Excellent.
Well, like, she is leaps and bounds his...
intellectual superior?
Yeah, but she's sort of, like, cobbled by her infatuations.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting dynamic where, like, she definitely has all of the cards, but she keeps trying to play a losing hand.
Yeah, she needs him more than he needs her in the, like...
Like,
emotional sense.
Yeah. And it ended up...
He needs things that he can get other places, like money and food and
sex.
And sex and resources. Like, he can get that other places. She can't get a sort of, like, captive audience or somebody who's at least pretending to be infatuated with her. She can't get that anywhere else.
No, so she gave him a boost, a jump start.
These all sound like energy drinks.
Right? Unfortunately...
which were very popular in Napoleonic France.
Yes. She has been confiding in her... If Hortense is Adeline's daughter and Adeline is her sister, which is the story that we have decided to stick with, then
that
yes.
I decided that we would stick with.
Let's
Mark make
decided,
sure
'cause he's
that I
right.
get all of the credit.
Yes, Mark decided.
Hortense would be her niece.
Wait, no, she would be her first cousin once removed.
Not if Adeline is her sister.
But if she's her
been
cousin...
confiding in Hortense.
No, I know, but you said if she's her cousin, which is the story we decided to
No,
stick
I
with.
said...
No, we decided that she was the sister.
Oh, we decided she's the sister
that's
now?
what I said first.
Adeline
okay.
is
And I'm
the
sticking
sister
with it.
Mark's right.
because
I forgot.
that is
Mark's
the
right.
story that
Thank
makes Mark right.
You got it, okay.
So
That's what's important, guys. Come on.
Hortense is her niece.
Family member. Let's just olive branch.
So she's confiding in Hortense that she has a crush, and she is describing this man that she is infatuated with, and he is an artiste.
With muscles.
Yeah. And Bette hands over a piece that he has made out of bronze, and Hortense decides that she needs it more than Bette does, and Bette lost the card there, lost the bet, if you will, and gave up this piece that he made, and thus began the obsession of Hortense with our good Count Steinbach.
Which is fucking crazy because, like, she kind of develops an obsession with him before she's ever met him.
Yeah.
Like, she has seen one piece of art that he's produced, she knows his name, and she knows that
he's handsome.
He's handsome and that Bette is infatuated with him.
Yeah,
that's all she fucking knows. And then she proceeds to track him down, purchase a piece that he's created, and then try to connect him with her father to get a large commission done, and then immediately starts courting him. And she is motivated by those handful of things I just said. Like, she's seen one piece, she knows his name, Bette says he's handsome, and she knows that Bette likes him.
It's worth mentioning that she has been pursued by multiple wealthy benefactors.
The wealthiest guy in Paris.
Yeah, the wealthiest man in Paris she turned down because, as she put it, he's horrible.
He's a creeperson.
I mean, he's an old guy.
Definitely is a creep.
He offered her £200,000 for a glimpse at her naked body.
Which is basically Napoleonic France's version of OnlyFans. Like, let's be honest.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFrance.
Only France. Yeah.
I might or might not start that website.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFrance. It's basically OnlyFans, except there are baguettes and things are happening with the baguettes. and wine bottles. And everybody's wearing a beret.
Wouldn't it be seulement France?
Somebody's going to get an infection.
Fair.
A French infection.
But yeah,
French infection.
So
the French infection.
That's a
band name.
That's definitely a band
The
name.
French infection.
Yeah.
We all know that guy.
So Hortense convinces her dad to go to this poor little district and go to this shop where he's made this piece. She ends up buying the piece for 1,200 francs and convincing her father to invest in him in a large commission, which that puts him in the crosshairs of Hortense and the interest of marriage.
Yeah, and they basically, court very quickly. They marry. They have a kid.
Very quickly.
Basically, she, no pun intended, fucks Bette out of the one person that she has in her life that is, consistent and not fucking terrible, and is also, does whatever the fuck she says. She has one person, and her niece cousin steals him away.
And at this point, entrevue Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth Shue is super fucking hot.
Yes.
And also, she's a very attractive human being.
Both are true.
In addition to that, in this movie, she plays
a very super hot, attractive human being.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what her role is, though.
Honestly, that is not far off.
Yeah, she's a singer, actress,
she's an
stage
ingenue.
performer. What?
An ingenue.
You know I don't speak French.
In English, please.
The whole wheel.
She's a triple threat. She's a singer, dancer, actress, and she is the envy of all Paris.
Yep. Every time we see her room, there's always a line of older guys with gifts waiting to, present them to her.
I believe those are called sugar daddies. What's the French word for that?
Ha ha, sugar dada. I know my accent's a little off. It's a little Western, but I do believe that is the correct pronunciation.
Yep. Sucré papa.
I was going to say it would be sucré pas.
I liked mine.
I liked yours more than mine too.
This is a good theme for this whole night.
We'll just call this one Mark Wins.
Sucré pas would be sugar daddy.
Okay, so boom, boom, boom. We're introduced to Shue's character.
She hooks up with Bette because Bette is the seamstress for that theater.
The costumier.
And she ends up having a confrontation with her that ends up turning into a friendship. But it is kind of comical because she's literally, fire whoever designed this costume, blah, 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 I'm pissed, yada, yada. It doesn't highlight any of my features
Where's my tits? Where are my ass?
My tits and my ass. So Bette, grabs the back of her tights, pulls it out, and then uses scissors to cut it. And then there's just a hole showing, the middle of her ass, which is amazing, by the way.
And, she, intends to, be, degrading and,
a saboteur.
Yeah.
Fucking catty, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to show off your ass? Here, how about this? Meh, 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 meh.
But she just fucking owns it.
Yeah.
She's like, I love it. Let's do it.
And they start up a friendship, which is kind of predicated on, Elizabeth Shue sort of oh, the sky is falling. What is happening? And Bette sort of calming her nerves and being don't worry, it's fine. Everything will work out. Meh, 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 meh. You know, everybody's had those relationships where you're I feel like I'm a fucking therapist right now. Mm-hmm. I'm not a friend. I'm just here to listen to your fucking problems.
I don't even know if I would call them friends so much as they used each other.
I don't think
absolutely they did.
I don't think at the beginning Bette was using Elizabeth Shue. I think once other sort of things fell into line, I think she realized, oh, you could be a useful piece in this chess game. But I think at the outset of their relationship, it was just sort of you're young and gorgeous and something new and interesting in my life, so I'll hang out with you for a while.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And then Hugh Laurie, who is the widower, head of the family, that Bette is cousin aunt to, he is courting Elizabeth Shue's character, as is Bob Hoskins, who plays the richest man in Paris, who also made a pass at Hugh Laurie's daughter and offered her 200 francs on OnlyFrance.
200,000 francs.
200,000 francs, which I'd probably show my hoo-ha.
I'd take it.
I'd show my hoo-ha for
I would do it.
200,000 francs.
Yeah.
Even if I were rich, I'd be like, yeah, make me richer. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You got $2? I'll show you my crack.
And here's the thing. Who's to say he wouldn't make a similar offer more than once?
Right. And hang on, back to Mark's comment. Are you selling crack for $2? Because I know a guy who would buy that.
You got $2?
I don't have $2, but I know a guy who buys crack for a lot of money.
I don't have a pair
I already
of
met
knuckles
that guy. It was uncomfortable.
Oh, no way.
Too big.
Yeah, he made the purchase.
We're not talking about crack cocaine.
I don't want to. That's too much. That's too much. That's too much. That's too much. Okay, so boom, 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 boom. I think we can hit the midpoint.
Yeah, so the tipping point in this movie comes when everybody has fucked over Bette. Her sister cousin dies and, like, fucking slags her off right before she fucking dies.
And her brother cousin, who is married to her sister cousin, is like, I'm going to make you my housekeeper instead of my wife. And she's like, fuck off.
He fucks her over there, and then her niece cousin steals the one guy who has any interest in Bette, due to obligation or not. She's got a fucking captive audience, steals him away.
And Wenceslas...
And he betrays her.
Yep.
And then Elizabeth Shue's character, she basically approaches and is like, I am going to burn this fucking place to the ground and ruin this family.
It's very similar to another French story, The Count of Monte Cristo, where this man was fucked off by everyone he knows and loves and society, comes back to ruin their lives.
Yeah, she does that mucho good.
Yeah.
And she basically approaches Elizabeth Shue's character. She enlists her help. She asks her to do a few things, and one of the things later on was to seduce Wenceslas, the artist, and then she ends up fucking falling in love with him, so Elizabeth Shue's character fucking betrays her too. So Bette is basically just marching through this family, and without anybody knowing, the second half of the movie is just Bette fucking everybody's life up with extreme prejudice.
And precision.
Oh, it's so good.
Sniper strikes across the board.
Now, she's particularly savage. I don't know if these people necessarily deserve what she's doing, but I gotta admit, it was so amazing to watch.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe it might be too difficult to, like, continue the narrative. Maybe we just talk about the characters and what she ended up doing to them.
Yes,
yeah, so we
agree.
go with each assassination.
Yeah. So Hugh Laurie's character, as we already mentioned, was courting
Jenny Cadine.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like an incidental. He's more like collateral. I don't think she was trying to...
Oh, no, she fucks him up, dude. She
absolutely
does two big things. First of all, she pits Hugh Laurie and Bob Hoskins against each other.
That's right.
He was already interested in Elizabeth Shue. She basically floats the idea to Bob Hoskins that Hugh Laurie has lost interest in Elizabeth Shue. So he pursues her. So now they're both pursuing the same woman and they're like old friends. Then they get into a fucking honor duel over this shit. Hugh Laurie shoots Bob Hoskins in the very like tippy top of his head.
Ruins
and, like,
his haircut.
Yeah, basically scalps him. He lives. He's like just fucking flesh wound, but he got better.
Yeah.
And Bob Hoskins shoots Hugh Laurie in the leg. So now Hugh Laurie has a fucking limp.
That's fair.
Then, later in the fucking movie, after she's sort of like turned Elizabeth Shue towards Wenceslas and not
Cravel.
not Bob Hoskins or Hugh Laurie, and Elizabeth Shue falls in love with Wenceslas, they're like nasty fucking in this like salon. Like they are going hard.
Yeah.
Like there's food involved.
Like drenching each other in chocolate.
Things are in places. It's crevices.
wild.
It looks sticky.
Pretty sloppy.
And basically everybody walks in on this. Hugh Laurie has a fucking stroke.
Yep.
He just drops like a sack of bricks.
And then his daughter Hortense is the next to walk in.
Who is the wife of
Wenceslas.
the dude who's doing the deed.
And she faints there on the floor. And all of Hulot, Hugh Laurie's character, all of his, like, rivals and contemporaries from the committee are quick to follow, and they see the devastation. They see Hulot and Hortense on the floor. They see Wenceslas and Cadine doing the deed, and they know exactly what happened to everyone.
Yep. She also, a third point that I forgot, she also ruined him financially by simultaneously assuaging any concerns that come up about money and then turning his son, who actually had a mind for their finances,
towards a loan shark.
Towards a fucking nasty-ass loan shark who she knew was like the type to break your fucking legs if you don't pay him.
That's right, she did.
Yeah, she fucking, like, burned his house to the ground.
Oh, absolutely did.
Okay. Wenceslas, what'd she do to him?
Okay, so Wenceslas, she discovers the betrayal. You know, Wenceslas is married Hortense, so he is dead to her. So she decides that she is going to convince Wenceslas to essentially court Jenny Cadine.
Oh, yeah. She, directs him that way.
So she points him toward Jenny Cadine, and all the while sowing seeds of doubt among Hortense by saying, oh, I'm sure that all of the talk about him flitting about town is all just idle gossip. So
it was so fucking backhanded. It's like, you know what? You're a nice guy. I don't care what they say.
Right? Yeah.
It's like, that's so fucking mean.
Take back all the horrible things I've said about you.
That's right.
So yeah, she's like, oh, him and other women, it's just gossip. None of it has any substance. So now Hortense is on the hunt for infidelity, of which there is plenty.
Yeah, she doesn't have to really dig deep for that.
No, she doesn't really. She just has to open her eye a little bit.
Yeah.
So Hortense is now suspicious of Wenceslas. Wenceslas is openly flirting with other women in her presence, and that includes Jenny Cadine. He falls in love with her and decides to take her away from Paris.
He falls in lust with her.
Yes. So after he has financially bankrupt
oh my God.
Hugh Laurie by not delivering on a 200,000 franc commission of a marble statue.
But definitely spent the entire commission.
Yes.
He was given 200,000 francs to do a thing. He didn't do the thing, and then spent the fucking money.
He spent it while not doing the thing, and he was doing everything but the thing, including wine and women and fancy clothes. So he spent the entire commission, did not finish the work, and financially bankrupt his father-in-law, leading his wife, Hortense, to seek out the aid of Crevel.
Bob Hoskins' character.
Yes. So Wenceslas has fucked Jenny Cadine, fucked over his wife and his father-in-law, and eventually ends up getting shot by his wife, who is confronting Jenny Cadine about the infidelity.
Yeah, so when she realizes that he has spent the entire commission, which happens to be 200,000 francs, the exact sum offered to her by Bob Hoskins' character a year prior to show him her goodies, she approaches him and says, hey, I'm ready to show you the goodies. And he says, no need. I'll just give you the money. Speaking of which, little aside here. Let's talk about how Bob Hoskins' character somehow became, the true north of, moral good in
he
this.
Was super creepy
after
at the
being,
start, and then after
straight...
almost dying, he was just like, you know what? Life is too short. I'm gonna be a good guy.
After being a straight-up fucking, perv.
Oh, yeah.
In the beginning, he just somehow became, the guy where you're yeah, he's alright.
Somehow I ended up rooting for the wealthiest man in Paris.
Yeah.
He was
definitely
all that was left.
Creeps on everybody.
He was all that was left.
And so she approaches him and he's like, no, don't show me the goodies. I'll just give you $200,000. So he goes to the bank. Before he can bring her the $200K, Bette, stops him and is like, you're at risk of being assassinated by this dude who's really fucking pissed off at you, blah, blah, blah. Give me the money and They give it to her. Well, as you might imagine, she doesn't do that.
So she also fucks over Crevel.
Yeah, she kind of they didn't even say where she put it, but she hid it. And then when that story ends up coming out, her niece cousin Hortense confronts Bob Hoskins' character, he's like, I gave it to Bette. And then when she confronts Bette, Bette's like, I gave it to your husband. And obviously a total lie. I gave it to him and he was on his way to the fucking park or something like that. And she goes, he wasn't going to the park. He was going to see that slut Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah, so she never even had to say that Jenny Cadine got the money, which she didn't.
No, she didn't, but it was heavily implied. It's fucking brilliant. So Hortense, her niece cousin, grabs her father's pistol and runs to the dressing room of Elizabeth Shue. And when the door opens,
aims to shoot Jenny.
She sees Elizabeth Shue, and then right before she pulls the trigger, Wenceslas walks in her line of fire, and she just fucking
shoots her own husband.
Blows a fucking $half sized hole in her husband's chest. And surprisingly, he didn't take that well.
No.
And by that, I mean...
He did.
He mucho dead.
Yep. Oh, we kind of covered what she did to... What's-her-face?
Hortense?
Yeah, she fucked up her marriage.
Yep.
Oh, and then got her arrested for fucking murder. So she's not only not married, but now she is in fucking jail.
So she fucked up her marriage. By the transitive property, she killed her husband.
Yeah.
And she stole 200,000 francs because who would take the word of a murderer?
Super good.
Yeah.
Like, not in the moral sense.
Oh.
But in the, like...
But in a way...
sense.
But in a way, she did this... Like, so she fucked over Hulot, which is Hugh Laurie. She fucked over Crevel, which is Bob Hoskins. She fucked over Hortense, which is Kelly MacDonald. She fucked over Wenceslas, which is Aidan Young. And she also fucked over Jenny Cadine, who is Elizabeth Shue, who was in love with Wenceslas, and then was bored with Wenceslas.
Yeah, it kind of like ended up
No,
working.
I don't think that's... She wasn't bored with him. She wanted to stay in Paris because she was so paralyzed about becoming the next old former actress that nobody wanted.
Caribbean.
Because she was going to run away into the country with Wenceslas. The only reason she didn't do that was because Bette fucking brought up the old woman that she saw in the park that was the former,
The glory of Paris.
Hottest woman in Paris.
Yeah.
So she scared her into not leaving Paris, and because Elizabeth Shue's character knew that Wenceslas wanted to leave Paris and get the fuck out of Dodge, and she knew that, like, it was going to tank the relationship, she tried to, like, basically...
Fan the flames.
Yeah, she tried to basically end it.
Yep.
But she didn't do that until she realized his reluctance to staying.
Initially, it wasn't in Bette's plan for Geraldine to fall in love, but she ended up working with what happened, and, like, it all just worked out.
I forgot
Oh my
about
God,
one of
did
the
it.
most devious plot devices that was used.
More devious than everything we just described?
So it's actually the linchpin that ties it all together. So before the insipid chocolate affair, where Hugh Laurie has a stroke and Hortense faints to the ground, what gets everybody in that room is a letter that Bette wrote using Jenny Cadine's perfume to seal the deal. So she wrote it as Jenny Cadine. She presented it to Hortense, which provoked Hortense to basically confront Jenny Cadine.
Yeah.
But she placed that letter after showing it to Hortense and to Wenceslas on the serving tray next to Hugh Laurie, knowing that the perfume from Jenny Cadine would provoke him to read it, thinking that the love letter was written for him.
Yeah.
So Hortense and Wenceslas and Hugh Laurie all went to the bedchambers of Jenny Cadine, which Bette had orchestrated from the start.
And also, it was in, like, a parlor that also had, like, rooms and shit, and so there was gambling, and there was, like, a poker game going on. Bob Hoskins' character happened to be there.
With the rest of the art committee that had commissioned this marble statue.
And because he saw Hugh Laurie, like, fucking, raging around searching, he got involved, so fucking everybody was there.
Yeah!
It was
Genius.
so fucking
It was delectable!
fucking dastardly, man.
Yeah.
Just fucking dastardly.
She showed the love letter to Wenceslas and he went right away. She showed the love letter to Hortense and she went right away. And then she left the love letter in the lap of Hugh Laurie, who went right away. And it just all culminated in this beautiful disaster.
And the most fucked up thing is, basically, the movie ends with her in their house with, like, you can hear cannons in the background. So, like, the French Revolution
Right.
Part 2 is, like, fucking going on, like, in earnest in Paris. She is taking care of Hugh Laurie. And the most fucked up thing is, she now has Hortense's baby with Wenceslas. They had a child, and he's dead, and she's in fucking jail.
She's the next
So
of kin.
Bette is the child's new mother. And the last thing she says is, "You're going to make such a wonderful artist."
My little Wenceslas.
Oh, my little Wenceslas. Fuck. Oh, God.
So she gets everything she wanted.
She got the 200,000 francs from Hortense. Hugh Laurie, by the way, is basically catatonic.
Yes.
After his stroke, he never recovered, and he is just a vegetable in a chair.
As he would be.
He has nothing. His son, that's another thing we never even touched about. His son had fled the estate in fear of the loan shark coming to kill him and his family and throw their bodies in the Seine. That is a direct quote. So he took all of the belongings that were worth a damn, loaded them onto a carriage, and fled the fuck out of Paris, leaving his father the only person left, because Hortense was now in prison. The son is gone. I can't even remember his name.
Jerry, I think.
Yeah. And Hugh Laurie is catatonic and cannot serve himself. There's like 2 maidservants that still work on the estate, and Bette got everything.
Fuck.
It's good.
Roll credits.
Yep.
Dude, that fucking
What?
movie.
What did we like?
Oh, God. I could spend hours talking about what I liked. It's hard to say my favorite. Honestly, the best part about this movie is the web that Bette had laid out.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't see coming until you've already watched it all happen. Because you're like, every time you're like, what is she going to do next? And the most seemingly innocuous things that she said were tied together at the end with a neat little bow.
Yeah.
The ways that she provoked each person into self-sabotage was fucking glorious. Because she didn't lift a finger, she did not lay a hand on a single person, and she did not commit any sort of crime. Lying is not a crime. She did not steal the money from Hortense.
It might be grand larceny in this country.
She brought it to the estate where Hortense lived.
Yeah.
Who's to say that she didn't just mention it in passing?
That's fair.
It's the word of a convicted criminal against...
Right. Yeah, she's a monster.
Oh, a beautiful monster.
The best kind of monster.
Like, just, oh man.
Just the fucking worst, man.
If I ended up living from that tragedy and being directly involved, I would just have to slow clap it out for the web of deception that she had weaved among these people.
Yeah, it really is like, beware the devil because he be beautiful.
Right.
Like, like you gotta respect.
Game recognized game.
Yeah,
like, holy shit.
Just, even though everything she was doing was horrible, she was doing it so well and with such like precision and grace. You just kind of have to respect it.
Yeah. They kept shitting on her throughout the whole movie.
Oh my god, the whole fucking movie.
So they kept calling her the ugly sister.
Yeah, so...
Like, literally at one point, there was this guy who was, like, not even connected to the family, who literally said to her, "Oh, our bad seed who refused to blossom." What the fuck?
He was the great uncle.
What the fuck? Mm-hmm. That's so mean.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like that slow part in the beginning. That's sort of what they're doing, is they're basically setting the stage for like all of these little fucking things that you can imagine, in addition to like what's happening, which is fucking horrible to her, that she's had a fucking lifetime of this. Always being second class, always being behind the other members of the family, and just basically being shit on. And then the movie is like a little bit of that to give you the flavor in the beginning, which is a little slow, and then the fucking revenge that she exacts, which is amazing.
Yeah, it did a good job of like painting the antagonist as the protagonist. Like you.
She's an anti-hero.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she's like a fucking Marvel villain in the sense that like
she was a victim of circumstance and she weaponized it.
You can see why she's doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to make any friends here.
Depends on the Marvel.
I am fucking
Mysterio.
I am fucking Marvel over DC.
Oh, 100%.
Like, all day, every day.
Batman or Superman?
I will happily move them to their trash bin.
Marvel? Martha?
Yes, Martha Marvel.
Martha! Why'd you say that name? My mom's name is Martha too! I guess we're friends now.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Wait, did we just become best friends?
Yup.
What happened?
Fuck, that hurt my neck just doing that. Yup. But I am like hardcore Marvel over DC. And one of the things I always point to when I get into this debate with people that I'm definitely right about and they're wrong is the villains in Marvel are so multidimensional. Like, you don't have to ask why Magneto is doing what the fuck he's doing. Like, it is so obvious. And you think about it and you're like, if I went through what he went through, I'd probably be a fucking villain too.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I feel like the villains in DC are so one-dimensional. It's like, man, I'm rich and I want to rule the world, says Lex Luthor. And you're like, shut the fuck up, Lex Luthor. You're an idiot.
Yeah, I think the exception has to be made for Spider-Man's villains, though.
Spider-Man's Marvel.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You're shitting on him?
What I'm saying is...
Oh, you're saying
I
they're
cannot
not
sympathize
they're
with
not
Spider-Man's
multidimensional
villains.
Dude, I don't know, though.
I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like
Doc
Doc Ock's a great example.
I don't know.
But also, like, fucking, like, Venom. The symbiote of Venom is such a cool analog for, like, an uncontrollable, like, physical or mental health condition, right?
Yeah.
Like, something that takes over you and you are fighting against it as, like, a moral agent. And you're trying to exert your agency over something that you feel is consuming you. That's fucking badass.
Yes. Yeah. I'm with Khan. I mean, you remember Thor Dark World, you know? Those dark elves, there was a lot of motivation in their... Oh, wait. I guess that's not really helping you out, is it?
I hate you so much. I actually don't have a strong recollection of the
Of course
Dark
you don't.
Elves.
Nobody does.
Because it's terrible.
I remember seeing Thor Dark World. I don't have a recollection of the
bad.
Dark Elves.
It's like real bad.
They were the the main bad guys of that, and
Were
they had they were just the bad guys. That is
the point stands. Fuck you, the point stands.
it's the most egregious example. Yes, but I had to bring it up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this under advisement.
That's fair.
And I'm going to do some research.
Rewatch it.
And rewatch Thor: The Dark World.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up.
And if this ruins the MCU or Marvel for me, I'm coming for you.
Just the war.
And Grisey Laferty's going to have some fucking competition.
It's I will take this under advisement and advise you to shut the fuck up.
I recognize the authority of this council, and I proudly say, fuck that authority, you're wrong. Or whatever the fuck Nick Fury said.
All right. Anything else that we liked?
So I know you geeked out about this a little bit. The great uncle with the ear horn. Mm-hmm. Super good. Mm-hmm. The way that they were panning across the screen and the audio very much turned into the tinny sort of recorded quality of like...
So one of the characters had one of those like
an ear horn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are a couple different scenes where something is going on and it pans over the crowd. And in one of those scenes, like you were saying, when it pans and like the camera is like focused on the uncle, did you say?
The great uncle.
Yeah. The audio completely changes and then it like shifts back to normal as it continues to pan. There's no reason to do this.
No.
That's an auditory sweeping vista.
Yes. Yeah, cinematography be damned, that was impressive.
Yes.
And I really liked it.
That was fucking sweet.
It was unnecessary.
It was unnecessary, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was just there.
Just like Elizabeth Shue. No, she's necessary, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, the old men in this movie were catty bitches.
Oh my god. Gossips.
Basically this movie was the Kardashians in 19th century France.
Yeah. And the Kardashians of 19th century France were old men in salons that basically just went to the club and the committees and talked shit about each other and everyone else that was not in the room.
In the club.
In the club. Which the club meant something very different back then.
Can we just like all get on board that Bette's relationship with Wenceslas was a little Ingridy?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mark, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Mark, right?
Well, does she go west?
You know what? She can go wherever she wants because she was full on Ingrid.
Yeah, she went full crazy.
And then she got mother zoned.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
which
God.
is much worse than friend zoned.
He literally tells her that she is like the mother he lost, and we all were like, "Fuck!"
Oh, no. I hate when that happens to me.
You never want to get mother zoned.
When the man you're in love with says, "Oh, you're just like my mommy."
When the man you love becomes the boy you can't have.
Wow, that is a thing that you just said with your mouth words.
I can taste it, and I don't like it.
It's not supposed to taste good.
That's not supposed to be the next thing that you say after he just said that.
You really shouldn't be tasting it, Jackson.
No!
Take your silverware out of that bowl.
There's a contingent of people I'm sure would be into that.
Good.
I say Phineas.
Yeah.
Are we going to transition a little bit?
Real quick, the soundtrack and score were pretty spot on in this movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A lot of great songs, a lot of, like, actual singing, you know, on, like, Elizabeth Shue's behalf.
One thing I have to say is the dialogue of this movie was written so eloquently. And I feel like, I have no basis for saying this, but I feel like a lot of it was probably pulled directly from the novel it was based off of. Just because the language that was used was so poetic and flowery that I feel like it has to be from the source material.
Yeah. It was a barrier to me in the first half.
Ah, okay.
And I think that the plot shifting gears coincided with my brain like adapting to the cadence that they were using,
You're
the words that they were using.
Translating the 19th century French, version.
Yeah, and then
so it was basically like Elizabeth Shue was like, "Turned down for what?"
That was that was it. No. But I agree with all that, and it made all of the witty back and forth in the second half just like so delectable.
It punched up a little bit.
Yeah, but it was initially a barrier to me, at least. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but yeah. Okay, so we talked about some things that we liked. Let's talk about some things that we didn't. I'll kind of kick us off here. I've already sort of talked about it. I felt like the first half dragged for me. It was a barrier. I already used those words. I will acknowledge, though, that without that front loading of character development and backstory, the back half would not have been as good. So
Well, you love it when the back half's good.
Yeah.
you need the back half.
Saw quite a few back halves in this.
What else did I not like? Once I was invested, again, 45 minutes in, I was there for all of it. And I don't really have a whole lot of negative things to say.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm parroting back what you've already said as like, if the movie in its entirety was like the first half, I would have a lot to dislike about it. But having sat through what felt like the long half to get to the juicy bit.
He's really taken on the long half to get to the juicy bit.
Yep.
Wow. It's a girthy half.
Yeah.
That's where all the girth is.
There's a lot to digest at the end.
It's problematic that its diameter changes.
Your problem is you didn't dislocate your jaw before you tried to.
Yeah.
That's right.
Before you tried to watch the first half of the movie.
It goes from pencil to soda can. We think it may have been caused by an infection.
It's true.
Yeah.
We're talking about Jackson's penis.
Yes.
It's like a tuna can. It's wider than it is long.
That's right.
I don't know. Okay, sorry. Is it a fair criticism to say that I felt like the plot... Well, no, I guess not. That's just kind of the structure of the movie. I wish that there was something to hang on to in the first half.
Yeah, I agree. I think they could have peppered in some things.
Like if there was a hook to keep you invested.
I don't even think they need, like, a hook, because the hook for the movie, like Mark said, comes when her sort of machinations begin to take form. I think they needed little hooks, little sort of lily pads that you could jump to of, like, something funny, something, witty, something whatever, that would keep your interest while they set the stage and, like, Bette's getting shit on all the time.
So here's my question. I feel like it's worth saying that there were plenty of little hooks, but they were so little that they were ineffective.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Like, for example, the hook of Bob Hoskins offering her 200,000 francs to see her naked body. That was in the earlier part of the movie and had no relevance until later on, but it was still a callback. It could have been a bigger plot device, but I don't think it was big enough to actually call attention.
Maybe.
There was a lot that was called back to from the first half of the movie.
It was needed, and I didn't necessarily enjoy it, but I'm not trying to begrudge its utility.
Right. But there wasn't much in the way of useless dialogue or plot device.
That's fair.
But there wasn't enough plot device in the first half to hook you to get to the second.
Yeah, I didn't know who I was following.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you're supposed to follow Bette and her story. But there were 6 tangential stories all culminating.
So you weren't getting hooked enough. You weren't a hooker, let's say.
No, I was not a hooker. Or a hookie.
Wow, that's different for him.
Right.
That's
right.
a different sort of pair of pants to wear.
Yeah,
for him.
typically he's more of a floozy.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But
Or a harlot.
Slut.
Jesus.
Occasionally, I'll be
Is
a
that too
puff.
much? Was that too much?
You know what, Mark? You crossed the line,
Wow.
and I don't appreciate it.
Good. I'm glad I knew where it was. I'll remember it for next time.
Yeah, no, I agree about what we said about the sort of first half dragging a little bit. That's, I think, my major critique, but everything else, I feel like...
Half dragon.
What?
Half dragon?
Half dragon.
Band name?
You didn't intend to use that, but like it was a snip out of your sentence. Half dragon.
Not a full dragon.
It's a half dragon.
It's a half dragon.
We can revisit it. You can.
Okay.
It's a
We'll
stretch.
put a pin in that.
It's a stretch.
Half dragon.
feels
I feel like half dragon is like a firm maybe or a raging semi. Like that's.
Look, baby,
I'm
it's
at
a half dragon.
I'm at half dragon.
But which half?
I don't take pics unless I got a half dragon.
No. You gotta go half dragon so it looks bigger than it is, but it's flaccid enough to where you like
got potential.
That could just be it fully flaccid. It's like no, I got it a half dragon.
Right. I feel like the half dragon would have to be the tail half of the dragon that is long and flaccid.
Yeah, you just kind of slap it around a little bit.
Yeah.
And get it, like, hey, something's coming. Not yet.
Right.
Not yet. But
it's not the half that breathes fire.
That's full dragon.
It's full dragon.
You never go full dragon.
Never.
At least,
Not without seeing a doctor.
at least not early in the quest.
You gotta rescue the princess.
Well, now I can't cut out that thing with the half dragon. You never cut the half dragon.
Never get that. Sean Penn, I am Sam.
Otherwise, it'll turn into a drake.
Ooh. Better that than a worm.
Or a wyvern. Okay, so a couple other sort of nitpicky things. I don't actually know this for a fact, but this caught my attention. Did anybody else feel like some of the costumes may have been a bit anachronistic? The two that stood out to me were Bette was wearing a nightie. At one point, she was like laying in bed and she was wearing a nightie, and it had like small, seemingly very detailed flowery print, which felt like something that would have come off like a large-scale manufacturer like today.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was Elizabeth Shue's, I guess they were like tights, but they looked almost like spandex. The ones that she cut the back out of.
Very Lycra.
Yeah, they felt a little synthetic, and maybe they were. Maybe at the time they had something akin to that. I don't know, but it caught my attention as... I mean, it didn't bring me out of the story, but it made it a little bit more maybe like A Knight's Tale, right?
Yeah.
Where they were just like, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
You know, it wasn't as explicit as it was in A Knight's Tale, which is why I'm putting it in dislikes, because, like, if you're gonna say I don't give a fuck, you need to make it really overt.
Yeah.
So people know you're not missing the cues and it's not a fuck up. It's just, you know. Anyway, little nitpicky thing. The other nitpicky thing I have was, I felt like the sound in this movie was not the greatest. I felt like the actual recording of the sound was not great. It sounded, at least to me, a little tinny. Almost the way, like, a recorded play sounds.
Yes.
Like, people act out on stage and you, like, record it for later. In some parts of the film, it felt almost like that. Especially in the early part of the film. I don't know.
Well,
maybe it was just me. I don't know.
It's not just you. It definitely felt to me, like, because a lot of modern films are acted out and recorded in different pieces. You know, the scenes are acted out and then the actors record the voices to match what is happening. This very much felt like there was just a microphone in the room that people were talking to, because there was a lot of ambient noise. There was a lot of echo. There was a lot of artifacts. There was a lot of just noise that wasn't just voices.
That artifact belongs in a museum.
Yeah!
Right.
Okay, so are we... Mark.
Right.
Right.
That's where it belongs.
Yes.
Yes. Quite.
Quite. Indeed. Phineas.
Okay.
Are we ready to move on to Don Quixote?
Oh, most indubitably.
Let's do it. Jackson, you want to go first?
Yes.
How many you got?
I have 4, which is to say
round up to the nearest 7.
that I have 7.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. That makes
So
sense.
my first quote is honestly one of the funny ones. There were a lot of really, like, biting remarks in this movie, but
so many.
I just chose one that made me laugh. So, Jenny Cadine is lying in bed with a touch of ennui, and
I think a whole bag of ennui.
Yeah. Bette walks into her room and she's like, I got your note and you said it was an emergency. What's wrong? And Jenny Cadine says, something's happened. There's nothing to be done. What is it? I've become old. To which Bette responds with something akin to, well, you were 25 years old yesterday. How old are you now? Like, fucking... But she's bemoaning... She saw this woman, Carabine, who's supposed to be the glory of Paris, the most beautiful courtesan that is old and decrepit now because time waits for nobody. And she's just like, I'm going to be nothing once I'm no longer beautiful. But it was just the way she said it. I've become old.
Very, woe is me.
Yes.
You know, like, I don't know if she did this, she very well could have, but, like, literally, like, flip her arm over and put her wrist to her head, like, oh.
Right?
It was that.
Yeah.
It was that energy.
My second quote is from Hugh Laurie's character. They're at Hortense's wedding, and Bob Hoskins and the rest of the committee are talking shit about Hugh Laurie and how broke he is. And Bob Hoskins decides to take a shot across the bow and says something about them both seeking the same woman and, like, being, like, apologetic.
Because he's a catty bitch.
Yeah. And Hugh Laurie says, why should 2 old friends like us squabble over a petticoat? Like, oh, way to reduce the woman.
Yeah,
That this guy's pursuing to
Wow.
He loves her.
just tail.
They both do.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I believe you.
It's love.
It is. You're right.
Thank you.
You're right.
Thank
My-
you.
my-
Sister love. Sorry.
You could definitely splice that out. Just have Mark saying, completely out of context, sister love.
Yeah.
Fucking yuck.
That'll be on a t-shirt in the shop.
Yep.
My third quote is pretty legendary, and it was delivered with such utter grace. The 2 that we were just discussing, Hugh Laurie and Bob Hoskins, are having a gentleman's duel, and they're talking to each other while they're walking away, you know, taking their paces. And they both turn and fire. Hoskins loses a haircut and Hugh Laurie gets a limp. And the doctor very laconically walks over to the 2 of them and just says, so, who would like to be first?
This is so great.
I clearly need to tend to both of you
With
Because-
minor wounds.
because you're fucking idiots Who would like to go first?
Usually the doctor is just there to pronounce time of death. And my last quote is from the maestro directing the orchestra for all of Jenny Cadin's shows. And she's flitting about, she's walking on air, she's lighter than a feather. And she says, I'm in love with a man. And he goes, you cannot be in love with a man. You're too beautiful to be in love with anyone but yourself.
Which is probably true.
Fuck! Man. That is all 7 of my 4 quotes.
It's a good one to use. I don't know who I'll use it on.
You're far too beautiful to be in love with anyone but yourself.
Gotta think of somebody to compliment.
You're like, aww, whack!
Okay, my first quote. I got 3 of them, which means I have
7?
ish.
Legally, you have 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Legally distinct.
It's a legal term.
Correct.
It is.
God damn it. All right, maybe you guys can help me. I wrote the line down because it was great, but now I'm like forgetting the context, which is just classic me. They say the artist is devilishly handsome, and he lives with a hag. I think these were side characters that were discussing.
That was Elizabeth Shue's character telling Bette
Yeah.
about what people on the streets of Paris are saying about
Hortense.
this artist.
She says it right to her face.
Yes.
Yeah, and she doesn't realize that she's the woman.
She's the hag.
Yeah, she's the hag that he lives with.
And that's the same moment that she discovers that Hortense is pursuing and engaging Wenceslas.
Which is where she decides to, ruin everyone.
And that bitch.
And thus begins the revenge narrative.
Speaking of revenge, there's a quick scene when Lange is walking down the hall with... Dude, the names in this movie are terrible. For me.
Hortense?
Yeah. And she just kind of very cryptically says, I'm sure you'll have all the happiness you deserve.
Ugh.
And it was beautiful. Because that was the halfway point.
Yeah.
That was it, yeah.
That's when I knew that, this is where this might be going.
It was the ending it with, you deserve.
Mm-hmm. She did a lot of that.
It wasn't I'm sure you'll have all the happiness in the world. Or, you'll be happy. It was, I'm sure you'll have all the happiness you deserve. Which is to say, fucking none.
Well,
and then, at the very fucking end... She says it again, as she's getting fucking arrested. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so fucking brutal.
So good. Okay, last one. Lange is reflecting on what she has done, and she makes just this quick quip. Life is so boring, don't you think? She's just sort of reminiscing on her machinations.
Yeah, and that's also something that, it was like a double callback.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what Elizabeth Shue's character said to her right when they first met. She said, life is so boring. Well, not for you, because blah, 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 and all this shit. And, literally, her niece cousin gets arrested, and she says, I'm sure you'll have all the happiness you deserve. And then, 3 seconds later, she walks out and is, in passing, says to Elizabeth Shue's character, life is so boring, don't you think?
It's worth noting that all of this happens while they're identifying the body of Wenceslas.
Oh yeah, there's a corpse in the room.
They peel back the sheet. They reveal that it's Wenceslas. Hortense gets arrested. She delivers that cutting remark to Hortense. And then, as she's walking out of the room, she looks at Jenny Cadine and says, life is so boring, don't you think? And then just walks the fuck out with a mic drop.
So good.
Oh.
She dropped Wenceslas.
Oh, that's true.
A Wenceslas drop. Which, admittedly, has less of a ring to it.
Yeah.
A Wentz drop.
Winstrop.
So, what you got, Colin?
Okay.
Don't be too excited.
I have 4 quotes, which, when mathematically, when converted into non-Euclidean space, is 7.
Correct.
Obviously.
That's science.
That is science-ish.
Math.
Science adjacent. Okay, so this was said by Bette to Wenceslas basically after he became her slave. And
Her bitch.
She's getting all fucking creepersons. And their relationship is transitioning from I'm gonna nurse you back to health to I am going to plan out every aspect of your day and control everything. She writes out a fucking daily schedule for him. And she goes, if you follow this plan and are productive, your life will change for the better. Which is so fucking creepy and ominous, and if anybody ever said that to me, I would be like, no, thank you.
But it's great, because her schedule is wake up, just do nothing but work.
Until lunch.
Till lunch, eat your lunch, and then go back to work until you go to bed.
Until dinner.
Until dinner. Except on Wednesdays, because I take dinner at my brother's house, so you're just going to work until dark.
Yes.
Goddamn.
Quite.
She's a monster.
Oh, yeah.
But she's such an attractive and clever monster.
That's how they get you.
That's it. That's how they get you. Fucking monsters. Another thing that was great was, so as we mentioned, Wenceslas, he's like an artist in the sense that, like, he is a pretty good sculptor, but he's also extremely, like, passionate, lazy, and distractible, let's say. So he does not get shit done. And at one point, somebody or some people are getting on him about not doing the work. And he comes back at them with, if fine works could be manufactured like nails, blacksmiths would make them.
Oh,
it's good.
Fucking so good.
God damn.
So good. Like, I do really like that line. Like, it resonates with me.
Oh, yeah.
There is something to be said about, like, needing to be in the right headspace to create versus, like, craft.
Yeah, like, art
right?
can't be forced. Otherwise, what's the point?
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny is, like, I actually often have sort of had this debate of, like, you know, when is it art and when is it a craft? What is the distinction between an art and a craft? And while I've never come up with a good answer for that, like, it's a very blurry line, there's no hard line there, I do think, like, that would be an interesting approach to answering that question, is, like, if you can produce a lot of it with very little thought or attention, it's probably a craft.
Yeah.
If it's something that requires a great deal of, and again, all of these terms are very qualitative and fluid, but, like, something that requires a great deal of intention and thought and sort of, like, creative motivation, it's probably art.
Yeah.
Which is why I've told you guys, it takes me forever to draw those designs on myself in ketchup on my naked body. That's why I consider it art.
Oh.
But that's ketchup?
That's not a craft.
Oh, wait.
I didn't realize that was ketchup.
I thought that was chili sauce.
Yeah. Changes everything.
Listen.
So that spice is just you.
I'm a spicy guy
Yeah,
by myself. I don't need any extra. I don't need Heinz's help for that. Okay?
Put the brat in bratwurst.
57 flavors my ass. My ass is the 58th flavor. I don't know what that means, but it's provocative.
Not a pass.
Okay, this is the most ominous fucking quote. So, after Bette enlists Elizabeth Shue's character to, like, help her in her dastardly plans, and Elizabeth Shue's character consents, she says to her, "Then you will be the axe, and I will be the one who wields it."
Ugh.
That was some fucking evil
really
villain
good.
shit.
That was really good.
Okay, the last quote I have is reasonably short, but requires some explanation. So, at one point, Hugh Laurie goes into Elizabeth Shue's dressing room in an effort to court her. This, again, was devised by Bette, so there would be a sort of confrontation. So he is trying to woo her, and she is sitting down on her, like, sofa bed thing. She gets up and is, like, seems unstable, and he's, like, kissing on her, and he's like, wow, you're really into this, like, way more than you should be.
Yeah, she's, like, moaning and breathing heavy, like, on the verge of orgasm.
Which, I mean, to be fair, every time I walk into a room, most people are like that.
Yeah.
So,
like,
I get it, and Hugh Laurie is British, so he's just got that extra level of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, hey, what are you gonna do? But yeah, she is, like, right into it. And all of a sudden, he's, like, trying to go into the petticoat, and he feels a head, and it's fucking Bob Hoskins,
Yes.
who was down there doing, I think, a crossword puzzle?
yeah.
Doing Hoskins things.
He was
Bobbing around, if you will.
yeah.
Oh.
He was using a bob-omb.
Yeah.
That was a Super Mario Brothers joke. And, yeah, so he was
Doing something. I don't know.
Having a snack.
Yeah, he was finding some dog breeds. I think he found a chow chow.
That's what it was.
And
See, I thought he was planting flowers. That's what the tulips were for.
I think Mark's eyes rolled back into his head when you said
I
that.
think they went all the way around.
So anyway, she kind of laughs it off after this fucking, like, 50-year-old man climbs out from under her petticoat.
She's just like,
Yeah,
oops.
what are you gonna do? And she basically says, like, we're super fucking drunk, so we're gonna go to dinner. You can join us, but you need to drink 2 bottles of champagne to catch up, because we are so drunk, we are at the quacking stage. And then she just stands there, kind of stoic, and goes, quack. And then Bob Hoskins goes, quack. And then they start quacking back and forth at each other, just quack, quack, quack. I don't know why, but fuck, that was funny. They're quacking back and forth over and over and over. And
would you say hilarious. They were quacking up?
I was quacking up.
I was quacking up.
Yeah. Quack Attack is back, Jack. That was...
Quack Attack, man.
I don't get it.
What? No, that was Mighty Ducks reference.
Oh.
The Quack Attack is back, Jack. Averman says it.
Oh.
In
okay.
D2.
Nice.
So I have landed my plane, and that is all 4 of my 7 quotes.
Beautiful. I think that wraps it up.
Are we ready to...
rate this biatch?
Rote?
Oh, yeah.
Lisa Potate?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 6.3 mousetrap cheese cubes.
Ooh, very nice.
Wow, that was subtle.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 7.1 partially finished masterpieces.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa.
Or unfinished works, if you
Whoa.
will.
Whoa.
One might even go as far as to say a disaster piece.
I get it.
I could go on,
Could you know?
but I won't.
Let's see. I'm going to give this movie a 6.5 naked food bodies.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to have something to do with Elizabeth Shue's ass.
Everything has something to do with Elizabeth Shue's ass.
I mean...
You want to know what ended World War II?
Elizabeth Shue's ass?
Yeah. They were like, in 20-something years, there's going to be
a woman
born who, 20 years after that,
We can't burn everything.
we can marvel
Right.
at her ass. So 40 years from now, there's going to be an ass that would end this conflict right now. Let's just call it quits, and we'll save ourselves the time and effort.
Like Helen of Troy all over again.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Face that launched 1,000 ships. The ass that
Stopped 1,000 ships.
stopped 1,000. Yeah. Bombs, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was the bombshell to end all bombshells.
So we're done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. See you guys.
Cool.
Apparently, we play bongos on our way out of the room.
Not a bongo.
Is that a bongo? What is
That
it?
was me running. That was you
running?
Yeah.
You
run really fast.
Yeah,
Thank you.
also-
Thank you. Track and field.
Is
Why-
it the new shoes?
Why did you
Track and field.
tape the empty cans to the bottom of your shoe?
Because I wanted to. Because I'm trying to save the earth, Colin.
It's called art.
It's called recycling. It's called, taking care of your fellow man. It's,
It's called science.
yeah.
Look it up. Get over it.
I am so sorry that I called into question your can shoes.
Yeah, I bet you are.
I apologize and
Yeah.
prostrate myself before you.
You ever heard of Mother Teresa?
She was the centerfold of Playboy in 1991.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But actually, that was Mama Teresa.
That was, Mama Teresa. Mama T.
Different, very different, less pious. But
Was
still
it Mama
quite
T
holy.
or T Mama?
Still quite holy. Is that too much?
Jackson's laughing, but you don't know it
It's like an ashamed
because he's
laugh.
trying not to get in trouble with the Catholics.
We can't lose the Catholics.
Can't lose the Catholics. We have literally lost everybody else.
Really, we have like an exclusively Catholic fan base at this point.
Yeah.
They have a long
This is
history.
basically AM 990.
They have a long history of burning people they don't like.
Well,
I don't want to end up on that list.
Honestly, if I pitted the Catholics against Grosset Laferty, it's a pretty even matchup, but
Honestly, yeah.
I'd say Grosset Laferty.
It's the Bears, man.
The Bears. Oh, wait, hang on. We still have a
there is something.
scene score.
Scene score.
That's all right.
It's better than average.
Okay, so we got a scene score.
Got some digits, some numbers,
Some digis.
extrapolations and calculations and machinations and
Some formulas.
some crustaceans.
Some crustaceans. A few crustaceans, sure.
Oh, gross.
Okay, thank you to everybody who responded to our familiarity survey for this movie. Our average familiarity was, drumroll please, fucking 0.
Wow!
This is our first true
That's
0.
the first not.
Full on fucking 0. And
Amazing!
I believe it.
we actually had a good response to this one,
0.0 viewers.
And it was a triple cherry.
Yeah!
So this is a true fucking diamond.
This was the
In a
definition
lot
of
of-
hidden gem.
A lot of rough. So average familiarity was 0 out of fucking 10. Our average score was a 6.6.
Okay.
The low familiarity gives us a punch up to an 8 flat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Respectable.
Yeah, respectable. Motivating,
You gotta
perhaps.
see it through to get that 8 flat.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
It's definitely something that you have to be invested in. Like, you have to sit down and be like, I am going to carve out the next 2 hours to dedicate myself to this. And you will not be disappointed, if I do say so myself.
Do you say so yourself?
I do say so myself.
Okay.
I don't.
Do you say so for him?
No, I don't speak for Jackson anymore.
Not since
the incident.
The incident.
Yeah, there was that time where I started speaking and he started swelling up, and then there was this whole thing with
And they were all like,
crabs, and then
Violet, your turn to Violet.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we had to take him to the juicer and
oh my god,
And that's where the Goopadoop came out.
I was gonna say Jackson was a fan of the juicer.
the guy was covered in eggs.
He was a big fan of the juicer.
That was a good time.
It took us, honestly, the biggest problem was getting him out of that room.
Well, Willie was involved, and he was not helpful.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, no, he was encouraging. Yeah.
And not in a good way.
No, we had an intervention.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Well, I know you liked it,
Yeah.
but
Willie is an enabler, and I think
felt
we
it
all
was
know
inconvenient.
this.
I wasn't mad about it.
That's why we had this intervention.
Yeah.
That Oompa Loompa did not need mouth to mouth. I swear to God.
The problem was they weren't giving him mouth to mouth. It was mouth to something else. And let's just say,
Well, you never go something else to mouth, okay?
you can go a couple things to mouth.
No.
You can go a lot of things to mouth.
You never go Chocolate River to mouth.
No.
I think Augustus Gloop proved that. You never
Yeah.
go Chocolate River to mouth.
Get that on a t-shirt.
So fucking lost.
You started the mouth. Go from there.
You know, we used to be a respectable podcast.
When?
was that?
Earlier, okay? Earlier.
So, are we Lurdern?
Yes.
I think so.
All Lurdern?
I think
Yes.
so.
Alright, well, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Great.
What? Yes.
Yeah, I wish you would.
Phineas.
Verb.
You know what? Fucking Chocolate River to mouth. That's... it's gonna be a band name.
I'm not getting the tickets to that.
Holy shit. So I don't know if this needs to be included, but Grace gently corrected me after a mistake I made several episodes back. And I will read the message to you.
She didn't email the whole group? Are
No.
we not important enough, Mark?
I am.
She said to me,
That was... You were so confident in that. I'm proud of you. I'm also very sad in my head from the words that you said that were very cutting to me, but...
It's fine.
It's okay. You'll get over it, will you?
Sorry, this movie's rubbing off on.
So Grace says to me, just finished episode 57, and you dare mix up 3-time Tony Award winner Harvey Fierstein with Weinstein? Shame on you, sir.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same
Yeah,
guy.
I mean, same guy, right?
It ends in Steen. How
Yeah.
many people's last name ends in Steen?
Not mine.
2, right?
At least.
At least 2.
At least 2.
We've got a lower bound of 2.
Yes.
You're forgetting about John Wilstein.
Right.
He's the worst, actually.
I don't know who that is.
Neither do I.
And Harvey Milkstein?
You don't drink that.
No.
Don't drink that. Okay?
I'm going to take a sip. Is that how you get the French infection?
But yes, so I had to bring that up.
Fair enough. That is all for the All Crap review. Thank you for listening. If you have any ideas for movie reviews, or if you want to get involved and contribute to the scene score, get a sneak peek at upcoming movies by taking our short weekly-ish familiarity survey. You can email us at 3, that is the number 3, menandabasement@gmail.com. You can also check out our website, that's tmaab.podbean.com. TMAAB stands for 3 Men and a
Basement!
Please also be sure to check out Orgy Entendre,
Yeah.
which
That's a filthy show.
is disgusting.
Oh, bring
I
a
mean,
rain jacket.
It's sort of an implied filth.
Yeah.
Right? They just sort of like, they hint at it with the words that they use and stuff like that. It's just kind of,
It's mostly in just what they say.
But it's an orgy of entendre, let's say.
Yes. Oh.
And also, listen, while you're there on stage 2, I'm just going to let you know, it's stage 2 for a reason. There is Chocolate River to mouth.
Yeah, I wouldn't go see that show.
I probably wouldn't either, but just so you know, if you do, you probably will get the French infection.
Yes.
And if you get the French infection, there's nothing that we can do currently medically to save you.
If you see it, you will taste it.
And if you taste it,
They will come. Wait,
And by they will come,
I got nothing.
we're still talking about that movie, right? With Kevin Costner? Yeah.
See, I was going to go with you will get gonorrhea and die.
That's the sequel.
That's part 2. They are all on tour now. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, where the fuck are you listening to this now? Wherever you're listening to this now, if you paid a band of 14th century minstrels to recreate this podcast for you
Do it again
on your front lawn, you could probably find it there.
Yeah,
I don't fucking know your life.
Let's be honest, we've already clarified it does occasionally play under a bush.
Yes.
Yeah.
So check those out too.
For certain listeners.
Ah.
And until then, I am Colin McLeod.
Mark, a call.
Action Jackson.
And we'll see you in cyberspace.
Prisoner.
Quack.
Damn.